Okay, folks, we're gonna start the meeting. My name is Mayor Mike Cameron. I'll be opening tonight's public meeting hearing for file A 012024 for 124 William Street. I now call the meeting to order at 5:01 PM, and I will ask committee members if they have any disclosure of pecuniary interest, and if so, what is the general nature thereof?
None.
I hear and see none, so we'll move on to item number 3. As it is the first committee of adjustment meeting of the year, we'll need to appoint a secretary treasurer for the meeting. Hello, is this committee in favor of appointing the clerk, Julia McCartney Jansman, as the secretary treasurer? If so, can I see a raise of hands, please, in favor?
Agreed.
So that's unanimous. I will also need to appoint a chair for the meeting, and if the committee is in favor of appointing myself for the chair. If so, can I see a raise of hands in favor of this appointment? No, that's taken care of. So thank you very much for that. Appreciate it. We'll now proceed with business on the agenda item. Committee of adjustment members present are Jack Springer, Dave Manders, Roy Blaisdell, Councillor Ronnie Maitland, and myself, Mike Cameron. And staff in attendance, we have Julia McCartney Jansman, Secretary Treasurer for the committee, and Forbes Simon, our Senior Planner. Applicants for tonight's meeting are Kelly Jo Mulrooney. As required under Section 45 of the Planning Act, RSO 1990, this public meeting is being held for the purpose of providing the public with information and material related to the proposed minor variance. This is a public opportunity to provide comment on the procedures and development prior to the Committee of Adjustment making a decision on this application. The application before the Committee of Adjustments are assessed by 4 tests to meet in grading the minor variance as set out under Section 45 of the Planning Act. The committee may grant the application if it is satisfied that the applicant seeking relief, number 1, is minor, number 2, desirable for the appropriate development or use of land, building, or structure, 3, maintains the general intent of the purpose of the zoning bylaw, and 4, maintains the general intent and purpose of the official plan. Committee members and individuals review each application. Individuals undertake site visits, and individuals form an opinion. Committee members assemble at the meeting to render a decision. In today's proceedings, we will be one minor variance application considered, file A 012024 regarding 124 William Street. Once we begin the review of the file, Julia McCartney Jansman will read out how notice was given and comments received on the application. Forbes Simon will provide a planning assessment of the application. The applicant will be then asked if they would like to identify themselves and speak on the respective application and make additional comments if they wish to do so. Members of the public who attend the meeting, hearing either through Zoom or in person, and wish to make any comment to be relayed to the committee may do so. You must provide your name and address in your comments to the public record. Committee members will then have the opportunity to ask questions, make statements of opinion, followed by their decision, which is voted on by the committee members. The decision of the committee may be 1, to grant the application as presented, 2, to grant the application with modifications or conditions if the committee feels the application can be approved, or reject the application. A verbal decision may be made at this meeting unless there is a reason to defer the decision. If a verbal decision is made at this meeting, the written decision will follow within 10 days. To receive a copy of the decision, you must make a written request to the Secretary Treasurer of the Committee of Adjustments by emailing clerk@Merrickville-Wolford.ca. If the application is granted, there is a 20-day appeal period for the date of the decision where the application can be appealed to the Ontario Land Tribunal. There is no third-party appeal on minor variance decisions as per changes to the Planning Act by the province. We will now consider minor variance application on the agenda, application A 012024 24 regarding 124 William Street in the village of Merrickville-Wolford. The application details will now be read out by myself as provided in the circulated notice and agenda. The minor variance request is to build a carport at 3.78 meters setback from the property line at the address of 124 William Street in the village of Merrickville-Wolford. I will now ask Julia McCartney Jansman to provide confirmation on how notice of the public hearing was provided and then to review any written comments received to date.
So per relevant sections of the Planning Act regarding giving notice of a public meeting for the purposes of subsection 45 of the Act, the following notice was given for file number A01-2024 by ordinary mail to every property owner within 60 meters of the subject land by mail via Canada Post on February 20th, 2024. This represented 23 properties by posting a notice on the subject land clearly visible and legible on 124 William Street, Village of Merrickville-Wolford, to which the public has access. A ledger size laminated notice was posted on the site on February 21st. By email to people and public bodies as required under the Planning Act. Emails were sent out on February 20th to Clerk of the United Counties of Leeds and Grumble, Secretary and Treasurer of the United Counties of Leeds and Grumble, Consent Granting Authority, Local School Boards, Rideau Valley Conservation Authority, Parks Canada, the Health Unit, OPG, Enbridge Gas, the Algonquins of Ontario, Hydro One, and the Village Chief Building Official. In addition, the notice of public hearing was distributed publicly and posted on the village website on February 20th. The agenda package for the meeting was distributed publicly and posted on the village website on Friday, March 1st.
Thank you very much. And now I'll call on Forbes Simon. Will you please provide a planning assessment?
Thank you very much, Chair. Before we get into this, I'd like to publicly apologize to the applicant for the delay in getting this matter before the committee.
Okay.
The application was submitted quite some time ago, and for a series of events, it's been a delay getting it here, and I wanted to apologize for that. The application that's before you, we've had similar types of applications in the past where we're looking at carports or garages being added on to the front of properties, and that encroaches into the front yard setback. The proposal before you is for an addition to the existing dwelling in the form of a carport. The dimensions have been identified by the chair. The existing dwelling is approximately 8.7 meters setback from the front lot line. The bylaw requires a 6-meter front yard setback, and all that will be able to be met with this proposed development is a 3.78 meter setback. Committee, if you take a look at map 1 on page 5 of the report, you'll see that the subject property is somewhat of a typical size in the neighborhood. There's 3 lots that are of a similar size. It does have a funny tail on the east side of the rear property going behind the 2 similar sized lots to the east. You can see the situation of the house on the property is similar in nature, though there is some articulation along the street and variability. It's a little closer to the street than the neighbor to the west and further back than the neighbor to the east. The street view photo that's provided, I think, gives you an idea and sort of shows how the carport area is going to be set in and recessed into the house a little bit. So it's the full length of the carport is not going to extend out into the yard and take advantage of the recessed nature. And that shows up on the site plan provided by the applicant that's on the last page of your package. You can see how the carport is recessed in. I think in terms of a development of this nature, when you're looking at the 4 tests, the intent and purpose of the bylaw is typically one of the more important variables that we look at. And the front yard setback is to establish a consistent street line. And it's also to ensure that there's sufficient room for off-street parking and a driveway, and that there is no traffic impact. Taking a look at this application, I'm satisfied that it's not going to have a dramatic impact on the streetscape. The dwellings on the other side of the street are right up to the street line. I think that the 3.78 meter setback will still be sufficient room for a car to be in front of the carport and not have its rear end out onto the street allowance. Having a carport on the property, I think is certainly a desirable thing to have. I wish I had one. But I think in general, the bylaw and the intent of front yard setbacks in the 6 meters is being more or less satisfied in this case. As I indicated, it is desirable and appropriate. Is it minor in nature? I think in terms of minor, it's never a mathematical sort of percentage change. It's about the impact. Will the impact be minor? And I can't see where this proposal would result in any sort of adverse effects on surrounding properties. And in my opinion, I believe that it would be minor in nature. Chair, my recommendation is for the committee to look at this favorably. I am happy to answer any questions.
Well, thank you very much. We do appreciate your insight and your guidance through this. So I'll now call upon the applicant, Kelly Jo Mulrooney. Do you have any comments to provide?
No, thank you very much, Forrest. I appreciate the thought and the time that you put into this. And with regards to the amount of time that it took for the application to be brought forward, I've had several conversations with, different members of the staff here, and I understand why that happened. So I won't hold it again. And thank you for your thoughts and comments on how the structure itself shouldn't cause any issues with the 4 points that you brought up. I think that really at the end of the day, this structure is no different than a tree because it is posts. There's no walls to it, it's just the roof with the posts. So it should not cause any issues. And in fact, in terms of it resulting in having to have cars parked closer to the street from my house, the reverse is true because we'll be able to move the cars closer to the house. So anyways, we appreciate your time on all that.
Yeah, no problem. Okay, so at this time, those who wish to address the committee verbally through Zoom, please raise your virtual hand in Zoom. Once you are acknowledged, you will be unmuted, and then please state your name, address, and then provide your comment. Please remember to direct your comments to the chair. Do we have anybody on Zoom?
We have one member of the public.
Do they?
So I've asked if they'd unmute.
They haven't indicated whether they want to comment or not. There's no hand, so we'll move on to the next. At this time, are there any members of the public who wish to have something new added to the comments received to date, which have not already been addressed by the planner? Do we have any public members that would like to address? Okay, so we'll move on to the next. Each committee member will now be called on to ask any questions and state any initial comments.
Just one question, just confirmation that there has been no comments that were submitted to the township from any of the neighbors in the area at all. Just confirmation that there was nothing came in is what I would request.
I have not received any. Have we received any in the
Okay.
office? So no, we have not. Any other questions from members? Go ahead.
I know one of the concerns in the planner's report was about stormwater management. I'm just wondering, based on the proximity to the neighboring property, if there was more space, normally it wouldn't be a concern, but because it's so narrow, is there a plan for diverting that stormwater down with some sort of a?
That's a great point, and that's typically one that's dealt with at the building permit stage with the roof line. And the fact that it will be open allows for stormwater to be a little bit, less of a concern. And it would be a question of where the roof drains go and how they get dealt with. And that's a matter that's highlighted with, the chief building official, and he looks at that in detail at that time. I think if it was a more substantive, structure, member, that we may wish to have a condition for stormwater management or a grading plan, but I'm quite comfortable, given the modest nature of it, that it can be dealt with most effectively at the building permit stage. But thank you.
I think with the paved driveway as well, it's already gonna be running off. You're
Yeah.
not,
That's the thing is,
yeah, you're not changing much there.
The owner has a comment.
Oh, just,
I just wanted to point out, that, I have plans to manage the stormwater runoff. That's for me. Only because the company that I work with, it's called Geosynthetic Systems. We distribute products that are used for stormwater management, and I have intention to remove the asphalt driveway and install a permeable surface. And we'll be addressing all of the runoff to keep my stormwater on the site where it lands. And by the way, I encourage the township, if there's ever any opportunity, to look into these products. They're very effective.
well, we appreciate that additional information. Are there any other comments from, members? No. Okay, so now I'll call upon each member to state the position on the application and the reason. Mr. Springer, what is your position on the
I
application?
support the application and will sign as approving the applicant's request.
Perfect. Dave, Manders,
I support the
your
application.
position? Okay. Roy Blaisdell, yours,
I support the application.
and Councillor Maitland.
I support the application.
Okay, and there's nothing here for me to say, but I would support it anyway. I will now call the vote on the application. All those in favor of granting the application for the minor variance as proposed. All those in favor? And that's unanimous, it's carried. And I will now read out the decision sheet and advice of the committee's decision and any conditions, if any, and there weren't any, so we have council following decision, and reason for decision made on 6th of day of March 2024. Decision, the committee of adjustment grant minor variance application A012024 as applied for. And this decision has been made subject to the following conditions. We have none, so. And we need each and every member to sign. Is there a place for me to sign as well, or?
We can do it
We'll
after.
just pass it around?
Inside.
No.
No. Get me to sign off.
After, yeah.
Okay. Well, just a quick comment before we close. We will make cocktail time. TikTok. I now close the hearing on application A 012024, public hearing for the Committee of Adjustments now adjourns at 5. Can somebody tell me what, 5:19? A little bit of a glare on that clock. 5:19 PM. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time.